All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Closers Corner podcast. My name is Greg Simpson. I'm your host as always. Coming to you today, a little bit of a different podcast because our live streaming app was not working whatsoever today, except for on YouTube. So Facebook was not working, Instagram was not working. So you get me live, or you get me not live today, I should say. But the topic remains the same. And the question gets asked all the time, especially after an amazing TV reel last night with Rick Malero, probably the best deal maker that we know. What's up, brother? We always leave that first meeting of the year. It's why we have Rick come in, because he just brings the heat. It's amazing. He gives us a really great market update from his economist that he has on staff over at his capital. And it always juices us up because we learn a lot of great stuff as well on tactics to implement for this year. And so if you guys know me at all, like I already took what Rick and I and the team at Outfast and Deployed Capital were chatting with Rick about yesterday in our closed-door meeting, and have already started implementing some of the things that he talked about. I already called one of my land people and was like, get me some land. Let's go. So it's about taking action. And that kind of leads into today's topic of how to get started in real estate investing. I get asked this all the time, so I'm going to bring this one up. And I've always broken this down into three different categories. And that is if you have little to no money, if you have some money, and if you have lots of money, okay? And so I'm going to define what these three different categories look like monetarily. And so the first one is little to no money. That means you have literally less than $50,000. You may have less than $10,000, and there are only specific strategies that can work for that to get started in real estate investing. I define some money as someone who has $50,000 to about $250,000. Okay, and there's different strategies that you can do with that amount of money, and then there's obviously you've got lots and lots and lots of money, which, in my opinion, for getting started in real estate investing is $250K or more. And once you have that kind of money, there are endless options that you can do. So I'm going to dive into the little money to no money to start here. And this is by far the hardest way to get started as a real estate investor or even a real estate agent. If you don't have money to actually buy houses, that's okay. Like, I didn't have any money to buy my first house. I didn't put any of my own money into my first. Actually, I've only put like little bits of my own money into deals for my fix and flips. All of my deals have been pretty much 100% financed by my private lenders. But the thing is that while I didn't have any quote experience, I did take a seminar and learned lots of things from this seminar, but more importantly, I got hooked up with a mentor who showed me the ropes, showed me how to do the houses, how to flip houses. And so how I did that with him is, while I had no money to do this because we had just forked out almost $50,000 in that real estate seminar program, and we were just forking out interest payments and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I learned from Luke Weber, who has now 2 books out that he wrote, The Flipping Blueprint and The Wholesaling Blueprint. And so I got hooked up with him, and he was doing flips here in Pinellas County in St. Petersburg, actually. And so I was, for lack of a better word, his little bitch. I did whatever he needed me to do, whenever he needed me to do it. It didn't matter what it was. I did whatever he needed me to do. And that was a couple of things that I did acting as his little mentee. Was I showed up at all the houses at least multiple times a week, usually 2 to 3 times a week, taking progress pictures, uploading them to Dropbox, giving him status reports, because pictures only say so much. And so I would say, hey, man, this is not looking good. This is bad over here. This looks amazing. They did a great job here. And I was his boots on the ground because he was in Las Vegas. And so I learned the process. I watched him and helped hire and fire some contractors that were either good or bad. And I essentially was like, learn the ropes from being able to be right there and doing the deals, because I didn't have any experience. So when I was able to walk my first potential private money lender through my deal that had been brought to me by a wholesaler, I took him on what we would call the dog and pony show, and took him to like the 2 flips that we had that were One was actively being renovated. I took him to that one first, and I took him to the really one that had just hit the market, and showed him the finished product. So when he was able to then I took him then to my shithole of a property that needed everything under the sun. I didn't freak him out because I was like, Rob, I just took this thing that looked just the other ones that looked just like this to what you just saw. It was able to make him feel confident to lend me the money to buy the house as a joint venture. And then I raised money to do the renovation as well for my contractor at the time. And so if you really want to rehab houses, you aren't going to be able to go to a private money lender without having some sort of experience to get money from them. So everyone's like, oh yeah, there's plenty of money out there if you've never done a deal. Well, that's true if you have some sort of way to show them that you know what the hell you're doing. And so that's one way to do it, is definitely get hooked up with a mentor like myself and others out there that are willing to do things, but you will work your ass off for us. You better bring it. You better bring value to me, or I'm not going to give value back to you. That's how it works. So if you think you're just going to get free mentoring and not to provide anything for me or any other mentor, you're being sold a bad bill of goods from somebody out there who's like, oh, I'll mentor you and I'll do this and this. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Ask me how I know, because I have people who come to me all the time that says, oh, this person's going to mentor me. They're going to split profits with me on my first deal. And that deal typically never happens because they never get the coaching and mentoring they actually need. Okay? Other ways you can do this with no money or little money is you can get your real estate agent license, stack some cash, and then start going and doing some deals, because you'll learn the process of working with investors on that side. It doesn't take but probably about $2,000. Caitlin, how much do you think it takes to get your real estate license all in with everything, with business cards, the MLS, the course, the testing, all that stuff? About $2,000? Okay, $3,000. So you can get into real estate investing by becoming a real estate agent, either working for a broker's like Outfast Realty here and learn the ropes from us here or somebody else. Or if you go join anybody else, you just need to look to work with investors, find out what they do, how they do it, what they're looking for, and then go do it for them. You still got to put the work in. Key word here is always going to be taking the action and doing the work. And then there's also this thing called wholesaling. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I've done lots and lots of wholesale deals. I have progressed out of wanting to do wholesale deals. I still do them. It's just not my favorite thing, as I've learned how to do better things, which we'll talk about when we have some money and lots of money to deal with. And so wholesaling is simple as this, guys. You go out to the marketplace, whether it's direct mail, cold calling, texting, door knocking, driving for dollars, whatever. We can talk about some of that strategies maybe here in a second. But wholesaling is the hardest, easiest way to get into real estate investing. And what I mean by that is because of the explosion of social media over the last 5 years and the explosion of technology, anybody with this thing right here can really be a wholesaler. Are you a good wholesaler? Typically not. You should see some of the deals that Connor and I work with, and Keandre and Suzanne have been working lately. They're a bunch of trash because they don't know how to do numbers. But thing is, you can do that with little to no money, but you got to have a little bit of money typically, because you have to have some money for marketing. Like a real estate agent takes like $3,000 or so, $3,500 to get started, to get your license and all the things that go along with it. You're going to need money to have gas in your car, to pay your cell phone bill, if you're going to take photos and all that stuff, and use some of the technology such as PropStream, the apps, or the Driving for Dollars apps, or oh man, I'm drawing a blank on it right now. I don't use that app, but there's multiple apps out there you guys can use, but you got to pay for those apps. So it's not a lot of money, but you got to have some money to do that. And again, if you have no money and you want to do wholesaling, you better be out there knocking on doors and finding deals to bring to a buyer like me, and we can walk you through the transaction itself. So that's kind of how you guys can do this with little to no money, but it is very, very difficult. It's the lowest barrier of entry to get your to get your license and to become a wholesaler, but because of the amount of competition and the market being the way it is a very difficult thing to cut your teeth in right now, but it is still possible. I'm not saying you can't do it. All right, you got some money. $50,000 to $250,000. Okay, this gets a little easier to do a deal. If you've got $50,000, you pretty much can do a rehab if you'd like. $50,000 should be enough to get you the down payment amount, especially if you have really good credit as a private money lender here at Deployed Capital Group. We can, typically get someone who has even no experience, really good terms, and with as low as 10% down on the on the purchase price, and we'll fund 100% of the rehab. So, and you're just going to pay a few points for that, but that $50,000 will cover the points. It will cover that 10% down payment. It will cover your interest-only payments for about 6 to 12 months, and that $50,000 will then get you your first house to renovate. And anything up to 250, you can if you've got 150,000, 200,000, up to 250, sometimes you can buy those houses with cash. You may not use leverage, but if you want to do multiple deals at a time, say you have 250, you can't do multiple deals, especially in most markets right now for $250,000. You want to do multiple deals unless you're leveraging a private money lender like us at Deployed Capital. Okay, so you have a lot more options. You can buy some cash, you can use leverage, but a lot of hard money lenders, private money lenders, will not lend to you if you're brand new, but we do actually do that for you. So that's where, the more money you guys have, the easier this gets. Because if you've got cash or you've got a private money lender, you then can actually close on these deals and make real money. Wholesalers make anywhere from 10 to 20, and some of them make more than that on a deal. But you can make 40, 50, 60, $100,000 if you've bought the property right. You have a good contractor in place that can help you get the deal done, and you guys can make them even more money. You could, if you wanted to, in that $50,000 to $250,000 range, if you want to, you could start a real wholesaling operation. You could get a Investor Carrot website or Carrot website now. You could get a Google pay-per-click campaign set up. You could get a very robust direct mail campaign set up. You could get a lot of things that most brand new wholesalers can't afford to do, and you can start building your wholesale operation that way. You can anything you can do to put that money is really going to go into marketing and setting up some systems and processes to help streamline your business. With $50,000 to $250,000, you can make some really good take some really good damage to the marketplace with a wholesaling operation that way too. And you can also, with that range, with 50 to 250K, say you don't want to fix and flip with that part right there, you could actually buy rental properties with those numbers as well, because we do have rental program loans for investors, some of the most aggressive terms that you will ever see right now when it comes to long-term rental loans and short-term rental loans as well. And so when you've got that right there, you have, like I said, multiple different options, and we have like interest rates on the 30-year program down as low as like, I think 4.4%, 3.75, something stupid like that if you've got really, really good credit. Again, it doesn't matter if you have bad credit or not very good credit, we can still fund you. The terms and rates just may change for you. So don't get discouraged if your credit's around 600, 650-ish. We can still get you funded, okay? Trying to think if I missed anything. Yeah, because obviously you guys can buy rental properties and leverage that. The third one I'll talk about is if you have lots of money. You have lots of options. Again, I'm defining that as $250,000 or more. So you guys have lots of options. Let me get into that in a second. All right. So you can do kind of all the things I've already talked about so far, but you can do them on a much bigger scale. You could do a much bigger scale wholesaling operation if you wanted to really take it, and that's what you want to do. You want to create a job for yourself, and you want to just create a wholesaling machine, and you want to do it virtually across the country. You are more than welcome to do that. That's what 250 gets you, okay? Let's see here. Yep. More importantly, I think that you could start scaling up a renovation business as well. You can start flipping a lot of houses with $250,000 or more, especially if you're willing to use leverage on that. You're going to have a lot of options buying multiple properties at one time. You could, in theory, also become a private money lender if you understand the business. And I don't mean just the real estate business. You need to understand the lending business, how to write notes, how to write mortgages, how to make sure your asset is protected, and your asset is the money that you've just lent out on a deal. There is a lot that goes into that. It is not just, I'll write you a note in a paper. Well, what kind of due diligence are you doing on the borrower? What kind of due diligence are you doing on the house? What kind of due diligence are you doing on the neighborhood? And so on and so forth. So just because you've got $250,000 plus doesn't mean you should jump right into being a private lender. You need to have some experience in real estate and also learn. Either you need to hire attorneys or work with people like us who, for potentially a consulting fee, could show you how to write a mortgage and a note to make sure that your ass is protected, how to record it, how to make sure you have lender insurance that's paid by the borrower at closing, to make sure that there's insurance on your note as well. There's lots of different things that you guys can learn. How to get your note sold if like you wanted to recoup that cash. There's ways to do that. So then you can recycle your money faster. That's what we do at Deployed Capital. It's what Rick does at his capital as well. So that way we can get that money back, because it's a specific way we write our notes that institutional buyers will then take that note, buy it back, and now it's being serviced by somebody else, and we have all of our money back ready to deploy. Again, hence the name Deployed Capital Group. All right, so you can start a wholesale operation. You can start fixing and flipping on a scale. You can start lending it as a private money lender. There's other options as well. You guys could invest in REITs. You guys can invest in funds like Rick at his capital, like what we're getting ready to launch with OutFast Capital here in the next few months. There's lots of different options that you can get. There's debt funds. There's equity funds, and that's kind of like what Rick's is a debt fund. Ours is an equity capital raise. They're just two different strategies. But again, as you have more money, the more options you have. You could start doing new builds with lots of money. You could start building developments with lots of money. Again, the possibilities are really endless, guys, when you've got lots of money. You know, we talked about this a little bit last night at the main meeting, and you know, buying lots, building duplexes, triplexes, quads, building single-family homes, and then selling them off to hedge funds immediately before they're even done being built, or before they even break ground sometimes, is a great strategy for you guys to recoup your money on that stuff as well. But lots of money gives you, again, lots of options. So if you'd like more information about how to get this started and really do this, all you got to do is send me a message, closerscorner@outfastrealty.com. You can hit me up on Instagram at RealGregSimpson, at OutFastRealty, at Deployed Capital. I think it's out at Deployed Capital. You can reach me anywhere. You can reach me on Facebook. You can message me there. You can, you guys can find me, right? So if you've got questions about any of that stuff right there, I hope I answered most of those that as detailed as I can on a quick little 20-minute podcast here, or whatever this is end up being. So again, hope you guys got value. If you did, please subscribe to us on YouTube if that's where you're watching. Give us a comment. Give us a thumbs up. If you're watching, if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you are subscribed there. You listen to the episode and you give us a rating and a review on that as well. It really helps people get our information out there. Same with Apple and Stitcher, wherever you subscribe to your podcast, we are on there. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Closers Corner podcast.
Back. Hands up.